on the highways and byways of Babylon the Great with another lesson, prophesying the downfall of this wicked kingdom that's run by our number one enemy, Esau Edom. Also prophesying the downfall of these heathens, because when Yahweh Shai comes back, he's going to put down all these heathen nations. The title of this lesson is going to be The End is Near, okay? A mark will come. So before we jump into today's lesson, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakudash. As always, double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone for bringing out this truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect, which includes the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there scattered around the world, including those speckled bird Israelites who may look like the other nations but are not. This one goes out to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. It's like the scriptures of old, and all those prophecies and stories and laws and statutes and commandments. They were only written for the nation of Israel. The heathens have no part in this. So let's just jump right into our lesson. This week, what's been going on? All right, we got the Genius Act that DJ Trump, is allowing to move forward. Or I know it moved through the House already. So that's one step closer that we're getting to the MOT, to the B. But there's also two other acts that come into play that I wanted to talk about, all three of those today also. And this is just Esau Edom, using gradualism, just letting it come into society and letting people get used to it, just like he does with everything else. Okay, trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, we're using precautions and we're doing all of this, but really, what these people are trying to do is they're trying to control us. All right, they want to chip you like cattle. Okay, they want to track you, they want to control you. They basically want to establish the kingdom on earth, like their kingdom. Okay, that's why they got those Amalekites over there in the Holy Land, setting up doing what they're doing over there, and then they're going to basically enslave the whole planet with this mark, so they control it. You can't buy or sell unless you take this mark, and that's what we're gradually getting to. Okay, but other things have to happen, before that comes to pass. All right, that's to be all out chaos. All right, you see the division happening amongst Esau Edom. All right, we got the big divisions. All right, you got the BRICS over there, led by Russia. All right, and then you got the West over here, basically led by the Amalekites, with the Americans, basically standing behind them, Babylon the Great. All right, but amongst the Americans, Isaiah chapter 19, Egyptian versus Egyptian, you're seeing that starting to come into play. You have congressmen now speaking out, like Republican Congresswoman. For example, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? She put out a video that I want to make a video about sometime this week, or maybe even tonight, probably tomorrow. All right, that stuff is happening. All right, then you got yesterday, what happened? Obama put out a video talking about so-called black men don't just need their father for mentors. They need to have mentors that are gay. Like, what the? I was so mad when I heard that. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this how you know this man got to be a Hamite. Because who the hell would fix their mouth to say that? Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. Our community used to respect him. I know, like, the so-called black people, but especially when he was president. But come on, man. Like, this man showing his true colors, man. Like, they're all into this wickedness. They all have drunk the wine. They've all drunk the Kool-Aid. They're all in on the same thing. All right? They're all our enemies. All right? And it's time for our people to wake up. All right? But only the elect are going to wake up. That's what we learn from the elders and apostles. That's what the scriptures say. And every day we see it to be more true and true and true. All right? We saw Captain Pegasus, denounce being an Israelite. All right? Even after all of these years and stuff like that. Like, he should have just repented, admitted his wrongs and, move forward, continue doing the work. But hey, that's the way Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai got it set up. All right. So the first act is the Genesis Act. All right. So this was introduced by Senator Hagerty. All right. And on 7/17, it was presented to the president. All right. And so I don't know if y'all can see that or not. It's probably backwards, so I just read it. But anyway, it said this bill established a regulatory framework for payment stablecoins. Now, if y'all don't know what stablecoins are about, it's a digital coin that retains its value. Okay, so it'll be like the new dollar per se. All right, when it actually comes out. Okay, so that's the Genesis Act, and then there's another act. It's called the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act. Okay, and so this act to amend the Federal Reserve Act to prohibit the Federal Reserve banks from offering certain products or services directly to an individual, to prohibit the use of central bank digital currency for monetary policy and for other purposes. All right, and that's what it reads off as. But once you get into it, you'll realize that there's more to it. All right, so it's not. It may seem like they're trying to protect you, but they're really not. They'll try to protect you. We'll get into it a little later. They just basically wanted to go through Congress. That's it. Like that's the big thing. They're so like, you can't do it unless Congress approves it. That's it. That's all this act is saying. All right, just like with the whole the president can't send people to war. Yeah. They just want Congress to approve it. So it's still the same wickedness. They're still going to do it because prophecy has to come to pass. So there's no way around it. And then the next one, the third one, is the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. So the Clarity Act is another one that these demons are pushing. Okay, so the next one, this one passed the House on the 17th. So it's going along with the Genesis Act. Okay. So this bill established a regulatory framework for digital commodities, defined by the bill as digital assets that rely on a blockchain for their value. All right, so they're setting up the digital framework, okay, for what the prophets have been telling you about for years and years. I don't know how long Elder Tahar and Elder Gabar and Elder Ramla and Elder Rakal have been talking about the mark of the beast, okay? But they've been talking about it for a long time. Before I even heard about it, they was talking about it. Okay, and they got it exactly what it is. And that's how you know the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is dealing with them. All right, and we learn from these men. All right, and that's why you can't go and just try to do your own thing outside the order. All right, that's why we give double honors. All right, or else you end up like Alizé, Chief Pegasus. Like, come on, we done seen this time and time again. All right. You know where the spirit moving at. You know who he dealing with. It's blatantly obvious if you have eyes to see and ears to hear. And the problem is, most people don't have eyes to see or ears to hear. All right? So guess what? They are not going to be kept when this time comes. Okay? When that temptation comes upon all the earth. Because that's what's coming. All right? Let me get that precept in the book of Revelations. I guess Revelations chapter 2. Maybe it's chapter 3. Oh. This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right? And so, there's going to come a time where this digital asset usage, or whatever you want to call it, the mark, all right, is going to be in a chip form, all right? And they're going to want to put it inside of you. People are already using, chips for other things and stuff like that, but it's going to be widespread where you won't be able to participate, in this world at all. Okay, you'll be excluded from society, all right? And there'll be multiple reasons, that people are tempted to take it, all right? One is to feed yourself, okay? To feed your kids, all right? Or have a place to live. Okay, or not being chased around, Like one angle that they could push is that, okay, if you have this, we know that you're a citizen, so we don't have to, put you in the camp. We don't have to, do all of these things because they're building up detention centers for them, all right? And guess what? They're going to use them, all right? They're not building them for no reason, all right? You think it's just, they're just going after the northern kingdom? No, they're going to come after the southern kingdom too. Judah is the head tribe. all right, we gonna get it worse. It's gonna be real bad. It's gonna be full blown by then, all right. But there's gradualism with this man, all right. He doesn't just move, all at once. All right, we've seen this time and time again, over and over again. All right, so you got to be wise with it. All right, but Yahweh Shai is going to keep his people, okay? Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, okay? But you've endured, all right? You digested this word, you received it, and you started living it, all right? So will also keep you from the hour of temptation, all right? So keeping it from the hour of temptation, that don't mean like what the Christians talk about. You know how the Christians talk about, we're going to be taken up out of here before all of this. No, Yahweh Shai went through it, so why you think you going to get to escape without going through it? No, he going to keep you through it, okay? He going to protect you. Just like he talks about in the book of John, or when he talks about, my father gave them, roughly paraphrasing, all right? Yahweh, we're in Yahweh's hand. He gave us to Yahweh Shai. Nobody can take us out of his father's hand. So nobody can take the elect, all right? Nobody can stop the elect from believing, all right? Nobody's going to take the crowns away from the elect. It's the non-elect that's going to lose their crown, all right? And it says, which shall come upon all the world. So everybody is going to face this temptation and have to make a decision. So imagine those people who don't have knowledge of them. They're just walking to the slaughter, But they don't have an excuse because they heard the prophets, all right? The prophets have went out, all right? So Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is giving everybody the chance to hear this, okay? Well, the nation of Israel, all right? That's who needs to hear it, all right? Only the election have found it, okay? To try them that dwell upon earth. So you got to prove yourself. The scriptures talk about in the book of Sirach to prove a friend, all right? Just how our father Abraham was considered a friend of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, all right? We so too want to be considered friends of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, all right? That temptation is coming, all right? So we got to get proved, all right? So that's how it works. Now, let's go back to these articles. This first one is dealing with one of the senators, Randy Fenestra. Fenestra supports 3 bills to bolster American leadership in digital assets, ban central bank digital currency in the United States. You see, right now, China is the one leading the way, dealing with a lot of digital stuff. Not saying that they got the digital assets, but they have it set up where they have the digital credit score and all of that stuff. So with the WEF and those elites and stuff, they were using China as a model, okay? But Babylon the Great, they're gonna make America great, as they say. Well, really, they're trying to make America white again, but America just gonna end up being red, technically, because it's gonna get turned into a lake of fire, all right? But it's going to ultimately be, this desert wasteland run over by, different woeful creatures, all right? So this was written July 17th. Washington, D.C. Today, U.S. Rep. Randy Fenestra voted for 3 pieces of legislation to bolster American leadership in digital asset marketplace and to ban the creation of a central bank digital currency in the United States. All right, and so look how they frame this stuff. They're saying they're banning the creation of a central bank digital currency. Why, if the other 2 bills go into, creating a stable coin and all of this stuff? So they're being deceitful with their words, okay? Because really, it's just saying that the Clarity Act is just saying you can't have this bill, you can't have a central bank digital currency unless Congress approves it. That's really what it's about, okay? So it's not actually banning a central bank digital currency. So that's how deceitful this man is and how he's moving, all right? So the increase in adoption of digital assets and the use of blockchain technologies can grow our economy and provide American families with new opportunity to grow wealth. However, under President Biden, digital assets were attacked, which crushed innovation and create unnecessary uncertainty for businesses. We want digital asset innovation to happen in America and crypto jobs to be created in America without ceding ground to foreign countries. All right, so they're trying to stay on top. All right, because that's what the world is moving to. Okay, just like we read in Revelation chapter 2 and 10, it's going to try the whole world. So the whole world is moving towards this. It's moving toward digital currency. They don't have any choice. Okay, it's the will of the Heavenly Father for this to happen. All right, we're moving toward. We're at the end of the world. The end is now. All right, you see all of these things happening. You see the signs of the times. You see the prophets back again on the highways and byways telling you what's going on, okay, and telling you what to do, giving you the warning. But you got to heed the warning.
Good job.
Thanks. That's why I voted for 3 bills to cement American leadership in the digital asset marketplace to ban the creation of central bank digital currency in the United States. Under President Trump, we're protecting America's financial security, investing in our economy, and making America the crypto capital of the world. Okay? That's what they're going for. All right, so one is the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. It establishes clear roles for the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, and the Commodities Future Trading Commission, provides consumer protections under greater transparency and accountability in the marketplace, and helps digital asset firms operate legally with confidence in the United States. So basically what they're trying to fool the American people into believing is that, look, we passed this act. This is going to prevent people from using it to control you like cattle. But that's the whole purpose of the mark of the beast. It's to control you like cattle. Like, that's the whole purpose. So they're being deceitful. All right? They're trying to say, oh, yeah, we're going to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. It's like they didn't watch Terminator or something. They're coming in with all this AI and digital stuff. It's all going to go crazy. All right? And it's being led by Esau Edom, who is just full of wickedness anyway. So what you think he gonna do? Wickedness. This man wants to rule, okay? But he wants everybody to be under him. And so that's what he's gonna do. That's what he's gonna use this for, all right? And then guiding and establishing national innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. It provides clear roles for the road for issuance of payment stablecoins, which are pegged to a stable currency like the U.S. dollar. All right, and so that is the Genesis Act, which you would have seen some of our elders talk about already. I haven't watched any of the videos, but I saw the title, so I have to look it up for myself and see what was going on. But I'll probably watch those videos later during the week, because I'm sure they brought out some good edification. Then the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act would ban the creation of a central bank digital currency in the United States. And we already established for the Clarity Act that that's not what it's going to do. They're just going to wait to get approval from Congress in order to use the act, in order to put out the bill. I mean, to put out the central bank digital currency. All right. So let's go to this other article right here. This is called 4 Questions and Expert Answers on the U.S. Cryptocurrency Legislation. All right. It says the prefix comes from the Greek word kryptos, meaning secret or hidden. All right. So there's a secret agenda. All right. A secret hidden agenda. And we already know what that is because we've read the scriptures. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. All right. Because it all births small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark. All right. Now that's going into this RFID here. And there's plenty about cryptocurrency that feels like secret knowledge. All right. This week, however, the U.S. House of Representatives sought to bring some clarity to digital currencies, or at least U.S. regulation of them, by passing 3 new bills. What do you need to know about the Genesis Act, the Clarity Act, and the the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act? All right. It says below, our experts offer some clarity of their own on what these measures mean for cryptocurrency, American wallets, in the world. So number 1, what is most important to know about the 3 bills? All right. So these 3 bills aim to provide regulatory clarity for the cryptocurrency industry, which has long been operating in a gray area with unclear agency oversight and undefined consumer protection and compliance requirements. With these 3 bills, the Trump administration and Congress aim to fulfill these regulatory gaps and propel a broader agenda for innovation and U.S. competitiveness in digital assets. The Genesis Act, which Trump signed into law today, creates the first federal regulatory framework for stablecoins, which rules for issuers and backing requirements. The Clarity Act, which now goes to the Senate, transfers jurisdiction over digital assets from the Securities and Exchange Commission to the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, okay, and defines and establishes rules for crypto asset exchanges, brokers, and dealers. Finally, the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, which is also headed to the Senate, prohibits the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency without congressional approval. Okay? So they still go do it, they just gonna get approval from Congress to do it. Now there's certain Congress people who don't want that, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but it's gonna get passed, and that's what they're gonna do because it's prophecy, okay? There's still a lot of work to do to address remaining gaps, but these bills are a first step, all right? So they just getting started. Most importantly, these regulations are only effective when paired with consistent and fair enforcement, all right? So let me get a scripture. Let's go to, what is it, Micah chapter 2. And it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. All right, so this is what these wicked elite want to do. All right, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. They want to take everything for you. Like I keep saying, they want to chip you like cattle. They want you to be their slaves. That's what they're going for. All right, and so they're devising this wicked scheme. All right, and it's all going to come back to bite them in the butt. All right, because, all right, when he finally sits down, you know, at his table, about to fill his belly, okay, that iron weapon go strike him through. That's the prophecy, all right? Yahweh Shem Yahushua ain't gonna let him establish his kingdom how he wants to establish it, okay? It's not written in the prophecies, so it's not about to happen. Let me check, see if there's any comment. Shalom, Yeramia. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah. And Shalom, Azayala, Idaho. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah. All right, we got one precept, Proverbs 28:18. Whosoever walketh uprightly shall be saved, but he that is perverse in his ways shall fall at once. Yeah, you got to walk on a straight and narrow path. All right, you got to get through all of these things. They got a fire on one side, a great gulf on the other side. Okay. And that straight and narrow path is you got to follow the ways of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? But if you perverse walking in this world, okay, walking after your own lust, okay, following after these heathens, what you think gonna happen? You gonna fall, all right? And you gonna fall miserably. And that time where a lot of people about to fall is coming. Jacob's trouble, and it's right there upon us, all right? And then we got another precept. This is Hebrews 5 verse 12. For when the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of power, and become such as have need of milk, and not of strong meat. And that's for those who don't want to follow the order that was set up. All right? You see it time and time again. They lose the name, they lose direction, they ultimately end up bugging themselves out, and they end up falling up. And you never hear from them again. Okay, and you got Revelations 3:10, which we got. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from our temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And we already went into that, okay? And now our temptation is when that mark is going to be out there. And either you got Yahweh Shem Yahushua, or you go over to Esau and choose him as your master. It's either one, all right? Or you go perish of starvation. But, okay? So Micah chapter 2 verse 2, they covet fields and they take them by violence, and houses and they take them away. They oppress a man in his house and even his heritage. Now if you take this mark, imagine how much they go oppress you then. All right? You're not even going to be your own person to be able to do what you want to do. All right? Imagine, letting them put something in your mind that they could read your thoughts and possibly be able to control you. Like, come on. Like, that's what's coming. All right? People not thinking. Okay? They're just going about their daily lives because they can't see how wicked this man is, even though he shows them how wicked he is every single day. Like, come on. It's out there. All right. Let's see. Let's get back to the article. This is question number 2. What will the impact be for Americans? We know what the impact is ultimately going to be based on the scriptures, but let's see what they got to say. The most likely outcome is that more companies, including banks, are going to jump into offering crypto assets. All right. So we already seen several major financial institutions indicate that they want to get more involved in crypto, such as J.P. Morgan Chase. Jamie Dillon said Tuesday, when asked about stablecoins, we're going to be in it and learn a lot and a player. Now that there is finally more regulatory clarity, you can expect the traditional finance players, sometimes called TradFi, to engage more with these rapidly developing technologies. For Americans, this means your bank may soon be offering you stablecoins and possibly even tokenized ways to invest in the stock market. None of this will happen overnight, but in a year or two, the way we bank could look significantly different. Okay? So they're telling you that your banks are going to start dabbling in these digital currencies. The problem with these digital currencies is they can set regulations on them that, the digital currency, you have to use it in this certain amount of time. Okay? Maybe you can't save it for so long. Or maybe they say, you have this political view, so you can't use this currency. Okay? So all of these restrictions, all right? They might follow after China. Social credit score. Your social credit score is, not where we want it, so we're going to reduce the amount you can spend. Or you're going to be like, you're buying too much of this. We don't like what you buy. And they're going to track everything that you do with this. All right? And then ultimately, they're going to want to track you because they're going to want to put it inside of you. All right? So you can't let that happen. But we know most of the world is going to take it. But that's just what it is. All right? The rest of it says, this also can come with risk. What happened with Silicon Valley Bank in 2022 is a cautionary tale. That's not the biggest risk. The biggest risk is to the people. All right? Because what happens if you actually take the mark? I know they're not talking about the mark right now, but this is a stepping stone to it. All right? And it's getting people used to it. Okay? If banks get too involved with something speculative, whether it's in the digital economy or not, then there's a risk that some kind of failure in one part of the market create a larger financial crisis. Okay, so that's all they worry about is money. That's all. They're not really worried about what's actually going to happen with the people. They're not worried about that grievous sore that's going to happen when they start putting this stuff inside people. Okay, they're going to harm you. They're not going to help you. All right. These bills are aimed at helping ensure the assets offered are safe. It's clear there's much more work to do on that front. There's nothing safe about this. Like, you putting your life in jeopardy. All right? Now let's read this. This is Revelations, chapter 14. All right? Let's see, where is it? This is Revelation 14 and 9. I found it. I was looking right past it. And it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, okay, and receive his mark on his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Okay? So you take this mark, you destined for the lake of fire, which is, here, modern day Babylon the Great. So you're going to eat a missile, in other words. All right? It also talked about if any man worship the beast in his image. All right? And so who is the beast? All right? So that beast is the revived Roman Empire. All right? It's headed by Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America, but you also got the rest of the EU, NATO, EU, all joined into that. Okay, so it's basically these Edomites, all right, that they're setting it up, all right, and their image is this culture that they pushed. Okay, if you buy into it, all right, you cooked, All right? But the elect have woken up. They have renewed their mind. They've woken up out of sleep. The hopeful elect, okay? Everybody else is still asleep, but they don't know it's high time to wake up out of sleep. All right? And I wish they would. All right? And so, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. Now let me get verse 11. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Okay? So you don't want to take that mark. All right? And your only protection is Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right? Now let's jump back to Revelations 13 and 16, which is, the main precept for any lesson that's going on about the mark of the beast. All right? So it's Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. And it says, he calls it all, both small and great. Okay? Small and great. It's talking about your stature in the society. Okay? Whether you're a great man, you some billionaire, or you done did all of these things in the world and stuff, you established a name for yourself, you still subject to take it. Okay? Whether you're small, whether you're a nobody. All right? Whether you're a homeless person on the street, you're a lowly teacher that teaches at a school and you got a wife and kids or whatever, you still subject to this. All right? And the only protection is Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? And it says rich and poor. All right? So whether you got all the monies in the world, all right, or whether you're poor, you still got to do it. This is encompassing everybody. Okay? That great temptation is going to come on everybody. Whoa, I wasn't even noticing all that. They got a lot of cops over there. I don't know what's going on, but something happened. The Wadi Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai for keeping all that mess over there. All right? What was it? This Revelations 13 and 16. And it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. All right, so free. All right, so who's free? The people that's not in prison. Who's in bond? The people that are in prison. All right, so even they're going to be subject to it, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Now you see a lot of people right now that are messing with that Neuralink, and they're getting this chip inserted into their brain, which goes into the forehead part. All right, so they're experimenting with it. So the mark is here. And if you look online, you'll see videos of people actually getting it put into their hands. And they're actually using it to buy and sell. All right? Well, that's going to continue to happen. All right? There's no way around it. All right? It's prophecy. It's written. Now, we've been telling you about it. All right? And this is proof of who the true prophets are. Because we've been telling you about it before it happened. And now here it is. But you got other false prophets out there telling you it's sin, or it's having sex with Edomite women, or some other bullshit, an embargo, or whatever the hell they made up. All right? But that's not it. You're seeing what it is. All right? So if you're hearing this and you're seeing this message, why not listen to the true prophets? Why not follow the true prophets? Why are you listening to people who are telling you smooth things, telling you lies, telling you what you want to hear? It's time to wake up and stop being one of those foolish people. Stop being foolish, okay? It's like moving like a foolish woman, okay? Who get, taken by the dude who's up to no good because he told her what he want to hear. That's what Esau Edom been doing to our people, especially Eve, since the garden. Come on now. Come on. All right? Verse 17, that no man might buy or sell. You can't buy or sell without it, okay? You need it to function in this world, all right? Save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, all right? You can't buy without it, all right? So, what are we going to do? Rely on Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. He said, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry, all right? So you have to have faith. You got to know the scriptures too. All right, so how you gonna have faith and to believe on anything if you don't know what's to come to pass? All right, so you read this word and you build your faith by reading and believing it. All right, and it says, here is wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. Well, this is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 66. Chi, Psi, Sigma. Okay? And now the stigma goes into a prick, a mark, something that is inserted under the skin. And if you go back to the Old Testament, like the elders taught us, there was a custom amongst the Israelites where, you know, if you lost all the stuff that you had, you could go and work for one of your fellow Israelites as their servant. Okay? They weren't supposed to rule over you in rigor and stuff like that because you were their servant. But let's say you took a wife. You had kids with that wife, okay, while you were serving to that person, all right? Well, once your 7 years were up as an Israelite man, or 6 years, and then the 7th year you're supposed to go free, you couldn't take your wife and kids with you. But if you love your master and love your wife and kids, you could decide to stay, okay? And they basically would use this oar and just basically drive it through your ear, okay? And that was your mark showing that you were going to be his servant for life. So taking this mark means that you're telling these people, oh, you're my master, okay? Instead of saying that the Heavenly Father would be your master. That's the whole point of this, okay? Esau is trying to lay claim to you, like you're mine, all right? And the scriptures tell us that we're not supposed to have any other gods before Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, all right? That's in the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt have no other powers before me. Okay, he is a jealous power. Okay? I could get that precept. But that's basically what you're doing when you take this mark. All right? So, the elect, they know that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is their power, and they're not going to put any other God before Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay? Because right now, Esau Edom is the God of this world. He's running this world. He's been given charge over it. Okay? He has the power. But the rest of us, we don't. We don't have that power right now. Our power is within Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. We know that. All right? So this is Exodus chapter 20. Okay? Let's see. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 5. And it says, thou shalt not bow thyself down to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord, thy power, or I, Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous power. Visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation. Okay? Oh, this is verse 3. Salakia. Verse 3. Thou shalt have no other powers before me. All right? Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow thyself down to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous power. Visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation that hate me. Okay? How you doing? Got any questions about the chart?
No, I'm just looking.
Okay.
Interesting stuff. Thanks.
No problem. All right. So, we can't put that man before Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right? We're still in our own fate. We just read in Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 through 11? Okay, what's the fate of those who take that mark? All right? And so how do we escape? Through the Heavenly Father. Okay? That's all we have. We don't have no weapons or anything like that to fight, so we can't think carnally. Our blessing was spiritual. Okay, if you go back to Genesis, you see when Jacob got his blessing, okay, Jacob's blessing was spiritual, all right? If you can have eyes to see and ears to hear, all right? But Esau's blessing was the sword, and Esau has the sword, all right? And so he's going to use this sword. He beareth not the sword in vain, okay? Like the scriptures say, all right? So he's going to use it, all right? That's what the Heavenly Father gave it to him to do, all right? And he's wicked, so he's going to do wicked things, all right? Now, in order for us to escape this, we have to have faith, all right? So the fearful, they go die in their fearfulness. The unfaithful go die in their unfaithfulness, all right? So we got to stay true and strong to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. This is our time to prove ourselves. So right now you're building up your faith, and then that time is going to come where you prove yourselves, because the scriptures tell us you have not yet resisted unto blood, and that's we're not there yet. We haven't resisted unto blood. So it's what are you going to do when your life is on the line? So is Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai going to keep that spirit on you so that you know hey, this life is but a vapor. If I fall out now, all that work I did was in vain, and I'm going to be on the bottom of the Israelites in the kingdom. I'm going to come back as a nutsack Israelite. Like, this ain't worth it. This world is going down. Like, I'd rather, be with the Heavenly Father up there under the altar saying, how long, O Lord? How long, O Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, till you avenge us, than to, be down here in hell. Okay? Because that's what this place actually is. This is the punishment. This is not life. This is not how life is supposed to be. All right? This is hell. Hell is the grave. Okay? And hell is being in a state like slavery. All right? And that's where we are. All right, and this man is trying to put us in even more slavery right now. So we're already debt slaves, all right, because of how this, system is set up. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and it's hard to keep everything gets more expensive. And, the wages, they don't really get better, all right? They don't even keep up with inflation, all right? And once they jack up the prices, they rarely bring them down. Maybe gas might fluctuate a little bit, but come on, all right? You have the promise of a better world, okay? And who the promise came from? Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So you put your trust in that, you believe it, all right? Now we know that our brothers and sisters, of the 2/3 variety, they can't receive it, all right? So they're destined to eat a missile, but they'll come back in the kingdom. They'll be our children, all right? They're going to be right then. So we'll see them then, all right? Now let's get back to this article. This is the question number 3. What will the impact be outside of the United States? From a policy standpoint, countries around the world have to consider the impact of dollar-dominated stablecoins on their domestic market. Well, you can already see that these other countries, they're getting away from the American dollars. They don't want to be under American rulership. Why do you think they got the BRICS? They most likely going to make their own. So I'm going to have to look into what these other countries are doing, okay? Because I don't see that they're going to want to go along with how America is doing things. Because these countries are rising up to go to battle, okay, with America and Israel, all right? And so we're going to see that come to pass. It's unavoidable, right? It says, while balancing their policies on stablecoins dominated in their own fiat currency, such as euro-backed or yuan-backed stablecoins, okay, and crypto assets at large. While all the bills are focused on the domestic U.S. market, foreign jurisdictions have been closely following these developments in Congress. Reactions from abroad have largely echoed concerns about financial stability arising from the influx of dollar-dominated stablecoins, especially but not exclusive from emerging markets. Other reactions have also included concerns about U.S. President Donald Trump's personal ventures with crypto industry and how that could influence his policymaking. Jurisdictions abroad tend to believe that the United States is being myopic with its digital asset policies with little examination of long-term impact on global economy, right? They also can't see what happens if you take that mark. Just like we read about in Revelation chapter 14, all right? So these Edomites, they're just about power and making more money. That's really all it is, all right? But the whole world is going to be subject to this, as I said, okay? So increasingly, I see advanced technologies and emerging markets doubling down on measures to protect their domestic financial stability. This includes more and more emphasis on their central bank digital currencies and adjustments to their existing stablecoin regulations, as well as creating new ones in light of developments in the United States, okay? And then the next one, how will these bills advance U.S. leadership on digital assets globally? So, the U.S. wants to lead the world, all right? They want to be the first. They want to be the ones on top that's, directing how this digital currency stuff gets rolled out to the world, all right? But that's why this place is Babylon, okay? That's why the rest of the world is drunk off the wine of this whore, okay? That's Revelations, 17. Let me get a precept from there. Revelation 17. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And so when it talks about with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, okay, these kings of the earth, they're working together, okay, that crafty council, okay, with Esau Edom, all right? So that's how they're all going to the direction of this digital currency. These elites, they all get together, and a lot of them Edomites, all right? And so fornication, basically this one is talking about the spiritual fornication, okay? Because they're pushing you away from the Heavenly Father, all right? They're going into worshiping idols and all of this other nonsense that these heathens do, all right? It says, so he carried me away in the spirit in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having the 7 heads and 10 horns, all right? And so that woman is Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. She's the one that's on top of the beast running the show. All right, that's how America has veto power. All right, on that scarlet-colored beast, scarlet going into red. All right, if you go back to Genesis chapter 25, you see the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Okay, so back then they had hairy garments, which they dyed red. Okay, so Esau, he came out red. Basically, you could see his blood through his skin. He has pale skin. Okay. The tinge color of blood. Okay, you can find that in the old 1828 American Dictionary by Noah Webster. It's yeah, that dictionary. All right, and then full of blasphemies, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, so the 7 heads went into like these 7 Edomite empires. All right, so we know Rome is one. You got Germania Major, you got Germania Minor, you got the French, you got the British, which came later, and then you got the Spanish, and I can't forget about the Greeks, all right? So that's 7 of them, all right? And then out of the British, okay, came who? America, all right? So if you read later on in this chapter, when he talks about the 8th, all right, America is the 8th, all right? And then those 10 horns is basically going into the EU, all right? So let me see if this article has any more stuff. So how will these bills advance U.S. leadership on digital assets globally? One of the bills, the CBDC Anti-Surveillance Act, is focused on banning the Federal Reserve from issuing a retail CBC. A retail CBC would be used by the general public for commercial and peer transactions, such as buying a cup of coffee. In contrast, a wholesale CBC would be used by financial institutions to settle interbank and securities transactions. Supporters of this bill say that they are worried about potential harms to personal privacy about government control of daily transactions. Well, that's exactly where it's going to go. They're saying that they don't want that and they're trying to prevent it. But do they actually follow their own laws here? No, they don't. All right? Look at what they're doing to the Constitution. They just stomping all over. They're basically doing a crip walk on the Constitution every day. And these patriots getting mad. That's how you know Isaiah 19 gonna come to pass. All right? Man, cops still out there. I don't even know what's going on. But we're not but to go over there and see what's going on either. So, that's one thing about this truth, okay? You learn true wisdom is, all right? So you foresee the evil, and you go away from it, all right? You don't go to it. You got to get to my vehicle, but I'm just saying, all right? Let's see. At the same time, this bill would make the United States the only country in the world to have banned the CBDC and global outline CBDC development. Importantly, the bill could potentially also undermine the Federal Reserve's critical work on cross-border payments innovation. Now, remember what we talked about earlier, which we read in earlier in this article, is that it's not that they're just banning it. They just they need approval from Congress in order for them to do it. That's it. But they don't always be super straightforward with how they be wording stuff. All right. Importantly, let's see. The Federal Reserve is actively involved in Project Agora alongside 6 other central banks to make international payments more efficient and secure by integrating tokenized central bank money and commercial bank deposits, halting this work risks leaving the United States behind and shaping the next generation of global payment infrastructure. So like for example, like XRP. XRP was supposed to be used for like cross-border payments. It was held up in court with the SEC for quite some time. All right, now they finally, out of court. So you could see, like SEC, the iOS, what, 2022 type stable coins. Or type coins that could be used for cross-border payments and stuff be used. And there's also another one that's like XRP. I used to be in the crypto a while ago, but once I learned about the truth, I kind of just let it go because I'm like, it's pointless. I see where this all going now, I let it go. And this says, this is happening as countries increasingly pursue alternative payment systems designed to bypass the dollar, okay? You see these other countries, they don't want to be, involved with the U.S., all right? We already know this when dealing with the BRICS and stuff like that, okay? Without U.S. leadership on cross-border payments innovation, other countries like China could fill the void, okay? So these heathens actually have in their mind that if America goes down, but we know America is going to go down, that the next country that's going to rise up is going to be China. But we already know that's not going to happen, all right? We already know who it's going to be, all right? So Yahweh Shai is going to come and get the victory, all right? And he's going to put the nation of Israel, or Yasharallah, okay, on the map. And not those people over there in the Holy Land that's frauds and phonies, those bastards. No, not them. They're going down. All right, they gonna eat a missile too. And the ones for them who not eating the missile, those elites who not there, who in those bunkers, guess what? They're gonna be the first fruits of slavery. All right. So right now we might be fishers out here on the highways and byways, but Yahweh Hashem Yahushai say he gonna turn us into hunters. I'll get that precept, but let me finish reading this. It says China could fill the void, setting technical standards, governance norms, and financial networks that diminish the role of the dollar. This erosion of leadership also poses a national security risk, limiting U.S. ability to monitor illicit finance and enforce economic sanctions. So they're trying to maintain that power that they have over the earth. Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. Okay, and that's what he's doing. Right? And he keep it not at home. He's always in somebody else's business trying to be like, oh, I'm enforcing what you could do. Like, you can't be doing all this. We putting sanctions on you. You don't want to accept my alphabet soup nonsense sanction. All right? That's how Esau be moving. Let me get that in Jeremiah 16. And I said I was going to get Jeremiah 16. Jeremiah 16:16. Behold, I will send for many hunters, said Yahweh, and they shall fish them. All right? And that's what we're doing. We're fishing. All right? Yahweh Shai said, I will make you fishers of men. And so, here we are. Fishermen for the kingdom. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. All right? So these elites, they're going to hide. They're going to get in those bunkers. Esau loves to be in rocks, loves to be in these holes. And we going to get them up out there. All right? Slap them chains on them. All right? All of them getting chains, even the babies. You heard me? So, I hope this lesson was edifying. All right? Remember, the RFID hip is the mark of the MOT to the B. All right? It is the mark. The RFID hip. All right? You heard it here. Before it getting pushed. So listen, all right? Listen now, because that time is coming where you won't be able to hear the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai being taught by the prophets, and you go along for it. Amos 8:11, all right? It's going to be a famine, not a famine of bread, but a famine of the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, all right? Now, they will have regular famines too, but this is the most important one. So, I hope this lesson was edifying. Shalom Yasharallah. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash. Once again, double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, and Shalom for tuning in. Until next time.